What if everything you've been told about one of Earth's most iconic structures is fundamentally wrong? What if the Great Wall of China, that supposed marvel of ancient engineering, is actually hiding a truth so radical it would rewrite our understanding of human civilization? We've all seen the images. A magnificent serpentine structure, winding across mountain ridges, allegedly spanning 22,000 kilometers and dating back to the 3rd century BCE. A testament to China's ancient ingenuity and power. But look closer, and the cracks in this narrative begin to appear. Consider this puzzling fact. Throughout significant sections of this defensive wall, the arrow slits, the very openings meant for archers to repel invaders, face south. That's right, they face inward toward China itself, not outward toward the supposed northern threat. In some sections, the battlements and arrow slits are oriented in both directions at once. Even more baffling, many northern sections stand merely 3 to 5 meters high and feature built-in staircases on the enemy side. What kind of defensive structure provides convenient access to invaders? And here's another inconvenient fact. The so-called Great Wall was never one single continuous structure. In reality, it was a patchwork of many separate walls, built at different times, in different places. Far from the endless, snake-like monument we've been led to imagine, the conventional story crumbles faster than the unrestored sections of the wall itself. Here's what they don't emphasize in those glossy travel brochures. The wall you're allowed to visit, specifically the famous battling section, was extensively reconstructed in the 1950s. It's not preservation, it's theatrical set design. The actual, unrestored wall bears little resemblance to these polished tourist attractions. In many areas, it's barely recognizable as a man-made structure, just eroded mounds of earth and scattered stone, quietly contradicting the magnificent imagery that adorns countless postcards and documentaries. And that famous claim that it's visible from space? Completely debunked by NASA. The wall isn't some cosmic landmark. It's just a weathered stone structure that's been systematically overwritten by convenient historical narratives. According to official accounts, over 1 million workers, some sources claim 3 million, labored to build this massive structure. That would represent an impossible proportion of China's male population at the time. But the logical inconsistencies don't end there. Why construct a defensive wall across some of Earth's most inhospitable mountain ranges? Who exactly were they defending against? As historian Gumilov noted, defending such a structure was logistically impossible. You couldn't station enough soldiers to guard its entire length. Small garrisons would be easily overwhelmed, while larger concentrations would leave vast stretches undefended. From a military perspective, the Great Wall was essentially useless. The romantic notion that it successfully held back barbarian hordes for centuries belongs more in Hollywood epics than serious historical analysis. Let's examine the structure itself. Certain sections appear designed to withstand gunpowder-based weaponry, featuring thick stone bases and reinforced towers. One significant problem: gunpowder didn't exist in the 3rd century BCE when construction supposedly began. Even more telling, the foundation sections often display superior craftsmanship compared to the crumbling brickwork added above. This strongly suggests the base structure predates the upper portions, possibly by centuries or even millennia. What if we're looking at something much older than Chinese dynastic history acknowledges? Here's where we venture into truly alternative territory. What if the Great Wall wasn't originally a wall at all? Consider this hypothesis. What we call the Great Wall may have begun as an elevated trade route, a ridgetop path constructed by a civilization that predated dynastic China. This would explain its impractical defensive layout, its meandering path across difficult terrain, and numerous structural inconsistencies. Rather than building it from scratch, successive Chinese dynasties may have inherited this structure, repurposed it, added defensive elements where convenient, and eventually mythologized it as a symbol of national unity and power. Archaeological discoveries in Siberia and the Urals, most notably at sites like Archaim, suggest sophisticated urban planning that predates conventional timelines. Could a now-forgotten northern civilization have constructed what we now call the Great Wall. If such a culture existed, the wall might mark not a defensive barricade, but a frontier, perhaps even a boundary against what would later become China. Why isn't this possibility more widely discussed? Simply put, rewriting established historical narratives is far more difficult than rebuilding ancient walls. National identity, tourism revenue, and academic reputations all depend on maintaining the conventional story. The real wall, if you venture beyond the carefully curated tourist sections, tells a different story. It's fragmented, buried, and often indistinguishable from natural formations. It resembles the remains of something repeatedly repurposed rather than a single coherent construction project. In the end, the Great Wall may represent history's greatest case of architectural repurposing and narrative manipulation. A structure neither great in its original form, nor a wall in its original purpose, nor even necessarily Chinese in its original creation. What we're left with is a monument not to ancient Chinese ingenuity, but to humanity's remarkable ability to reshape not just stone, but history itself. One certainty remains. Like the weathered stones of the wall, history often conceals more than it reveals.